Hi everyone, good evening to all of you. My name is Ashna Sisodia and we are discussing crucial topics for geography. So, in the last video, we discussed the planets, what are planets, and how they have been formed. We have discussed terrestrial planets and Jovian planets, and we have discussed Mercury, Venus, Earth. Some of the important features we have discussed for Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss other members of our solar system. And let's start with asteroids. Asteroids are small and rocky objects that orbit the sun. They are sometimes called minor planets. Asteroids are also referred to as minor planets. Scientists, they believe that asteroids are remnants from the solar system's formation, and scientists, they divide asteroids into three categories. The first category comprises of asteroids occurring in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The second category of asteroids is the Trojans. What is Trojans? These are the asteroids that share an orbit with a giant planet. They share orbit with a giant planet. And there are Trojans associated with Jupiter as well as Neptune and Mars. The third category is the near-Earth asteroids. Now these are asteroids that orbit close to the Earth, like we have Bennu asteroid, we have Apophis, and these are some of the examples of near-Earth asteroids. Apart from asteroids, we have comets. Now what are comets? Comets are large objects made up of frozen gas, dust, and rock that orbit the sun. The comets are generally small in size and they heat up and form a glowing head which is called a coma as they reach near the sun. Now the dust and gases of the comet further form a tail which stretches in a direction away from the sun. Some of the one example can be Halley's Comet, which is actually quite popular comet, which can be seen from the Earth every 75 years. But what is the difference between asteroid and a comet? Like we have discussed earlier, that asteroid, these are rocky objects, whereas comet, these objects are made up of frozen gas and dust. Asteroid have an elliptical orbit, whereas comet, they have eccentric orbit. In case of asteroids, the orbital period is 1 to 100 years, but in case of comet, the orbital period can be 75 years to more than 100,000 years. Then in case of asteroid, they are smaller in size. In case of comet, compared to asteroids, they are large in size. Asteroid, they do not produce a tail, whereas in case of comet, they form a tail that stretches in a direction away from the sun. So these are about asteroid and comet. Now let's talk about meteors, meteoroids and meteorites. Now meteors are space rocks. They are space rocks and they range in size from dust grains to small asteroids. So when meteoroids enter the Earth's atmosphere or any other planet, that's when it is called as a meteor. Okay? So these are the space rocks, and whenever they are going to enter the Earth atmosphere or any planet, then it will be called as a meteor. And meteors are also popularly known as shooting stars. These are popularly known as shooting stars. So when a meteor survives in the atmosphere and hits the ground, it is called a meteorite. So as soon as it touches the ground, that's when it will be called as a meteorite. And one thing about this one should know, do you know that last year, that is in 2021, there was a comet, new comet called Bernardinelli Bernstein comet. In short, we can call it as a BB comet that was identified, and this is the biggest comet ever observed. So what we have covered so far, asteroid, meteoroids and meteors, comets, all these things. And in the last class we have discussed how sun is the heart of the solar system, how sun holds the planets in the solar system in its orbit. And then we have Mercury, which is the first and the smallest planet in the solar system. It is tidally bolted with the sun. And then we have Venus, that is the second planet in the solar system. Unlike its companions, Venus rotates clockwise on its orbit. We have Earth, the only planet to harbor life. Earth is the third planet. We have second smallest planet in the solar system, Mars, that has been fondly named Red Planet for its reddish appearance. Then popularly known as giant planet, we have Jupiter, that is the fifth and the largest planet in the solar system. And second largest and the sixth planet in the solar system is Saturn, that is also called as a gas giant. Then we have Uranus, that is the seventh planet from the sun and has the fourth largest planetary mass. Then we have farthest from the sun, Neptune, that is the densest giant planet in the solar system. So with this, we are done with this session. In the next few classes, we'll be talking about the origin and evolution of the solar system. We'll be talking about other topics related to this. And okay, before ending this, let us try to understand stars. We could not cover this earlier and I wanted to finish it, so there is still something left to be covered. What is a star? A star is a giant glowing ball of gas and dust which is held together by gravity. And stars are mainly composed of hydrogen and helium. They vary in size in terms of mass and temperature. You know, the color of the star is determined by its temperature. The hottest stars appear blue and the coldest stars appear red. And now the question is, how are stars born and when do they die? Now, they are born from clouds of gas. How are they born? From clouds of gas and dust. This clouds of gas and dust is also called as nebula. And due to gravity, pockets of dense matter within the nebula collapse under their weight. And a dense region is formed called as a protostar. Now protostar further condenses and nuclear fusion starts to form a star. The protostar, due to this nuclear fusion, an enormous amount of energy is emitted, making stars hot and bright. Now we already know that the stars are made up of helium and hydrogen, and as stars move toward the ends of their lives, much of the hydrogen gets converted into helium. And helium sinks to the star's core, raising the star's temperature. And the hot interior core raises the temperature of the surrounding gases, as a result of which the outer shell of hot gases expands and the star changes color to form a red giant star. So it can be a super red giant or a red giant. So what happens to the star now depends upon the mass of the star. So when the star has a lower mass around the mass of Earth, that's when they will form white dwarf. The nuclear fusion and energy production inside the core gradually stops, and as a result of that, the core of the star contracts under its weight. And the remnant is highly dense body called white dwarfs. These white dwarfs eventually stop emitting any heat or light and turn into black dwarf. But when the star is massive, it explodes at the end of its life, and this explosion is called as a supernova. A supernova. Now, after the explosion, core of the star remains, and if the surviving core is about 1.5 to 3 solar masses, then it contracts to become a neutron star. A neutron star. But if the surviving core is larger than 3 solar masses, if it is more than that, then it may form a black hole. That's when it forms a black hole. So black holes are places in space that are so dense and have such immense gravity that even light cannot pass through them. And the area beyond which nothing can escape a black hole, that area is called as event horizon. And do you know that there's an international collaboration of group of observatories, and its aim is to capture images of black holes. In fact, in 2019, it released the first ever image of a black hole. The black hole was located in the center of galaxy M87. So that's it about understanding stars and other systems that exist in the solar system, other objects that appear there. This is it. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Take care.